What if the face you've always believed belonged to royalty was suddenly questioned by something as small and cold as a DNA test? What happens when the very foundation of identity, bloodline, heritage and legacy, is threatened by whispers that refuse to fade? And how does a woman raised in the shadows of queens and kings respond when her private world begins to crack under public pressure? Princess Beatrice of York was born into a world of grand titles and royal expectations, but behind the palace walls, her life has been anything but a fairy tale. Born on August 8, 1988, in London's exclusive Portland Hospital, Beatrice was welcomed into the royal family as the first child of Prince Andrew and Sarah, Duchess of York. As the fifth grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, her birth came with tradition, duty, and a lifetime of being watched. But like many royal children, her childhood was shaped by both privilege and the pain of family disconnection. When she was just 7, her parents' marriage ended in separation. While the split was relatively amicable, and both parents remained active in her upbringing, the foundation of her family had shifted, quietly, but permanently. Still, Beatrice's early years reflected stability in their own royal way. Shared custody, lavish vacations, and a trust fund arranged by the Queen ensured the sisters, Beatrice and her younger sibling Eugenie, maintained a sense of continuity despite the headlines. She attended respected schools, Upton House, Coworth Park, and eventually St. George's in Ascot. But from a young age, Beatrice had to fight a personal battle that would shape her outlook on life. At 7, she was diagnosed with dyslexia. For many children, this might have been a quiet, internal struggle. For Beatrice, it was magnified under the public's watch. She delayed her GCSEs to better prepare and eventually began speaking openly about her condition, becoming a symbol of resilience and encouragement to others facing similar challenges. Even in academics, Beatrice pushed forward with grace. She achieved good A-level results and was even chosen as head girl, a nod not just to her status, but to the leadership and likability she carried among peers. Her 18th birthday, marked by a grand masked ball at Windsor Castle, reminded everyone of her royal bloodline, but it was the quiet strength behind the glamour that stood out. Determined not to simply coast on her royal background, Beatrice pursued higher education at Goldsmiths, University of London. She studied history and the history of ideas, an introspective choice that hinted at someone deeply aware of her place in a larger story. After graduating, she tried her hand at various jobs, refusing to be just a princess in title. She worked as a sales assistant at Selfridges, interned at the Foreign Office's press office, and even appeared briefly, without speaking, in the film The Young Victoria. That made her the first royal family member to act in a non-documentary film. And while the role was small, the statement was big. Beatrice wanted to live a life beyond the palace gates. Her career path took another turn when she worked at Sony Pictures. But in 2014, when the company suffered a major hacking scandal, she quietly stepped away, showing the ability to handle professional crises with the same dignity she showed in her personal life. A year later, Beatrice made an unexpected but defining move. She relocated to New York City. Far from royal engagements and the rigid expectations of her family's world, she found a space to define herself. In 2017, she took on a full-time leadership role at Paternity, a software company, where she became vice president of partnerships and strategy. More than just a corporate title, the position allowed her to advocate for global women's leadership, connecting her royal heritage with meaningful modern work. That same year marked a significant shift in how she was viewed by the public. In 2011, taxpayer-funded police protection for Beatrice was removed as part of cost-cutting efforts by then Prince Charles. Yet instead of retreating, she adapted. With or without the formal shield of royal security, she carried on, showing up to charity events and working on her own terms. It was in 2018 that the world began seeing Beatrice not just as a royal, but as a woman in love. Her relationship with Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, a wealthy property developer from a noble Italian family, quickly attracted headlines. Their connection, which began quietly, became serious fast. By 2019, the couple was engaged. Their wedding, originally planned for May 2020 at the Chapel Royal followed by a grand reception at Buckingham Palace, became one of the many events disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. But it wasn't just the virus that cast a shadow over their big day. The growing scandal surrounding Prince Andrew and his ties to Jeffrey Epstein left the family in crisis. The ceremony was rescheduled and scaled back, taking place privately in July 2020 at the Royal Chapel of All Saints. The absence of official photos with Prince Andrew, and the general lack of public fanfare, spoke volumes. Still, the symbolism in the details was unmistakable. Beatrice wore a vintage gown once belonging to the Queen and the same tiara the Queen wore on her own wedding day. In silence and subtlety, tradition endured. After marrying Eduardo, Beatrice embraced her new roles, not just as a wife, but as a stepmother to his son, Christopher Wolfe. In 2021, she gave birth to their first daughter, Sienna Elizabeth Mapelli Mozzi. The name was a quiet tribute to the Queen, and Sienna entered the line of succession as 11th, later becoming 10th after Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022. Then, in 2025, Beatrice gave birth to her second daughter, Athena Elizabeth Rose Mapelli Mozzi, now 11th in line. Both daughters inherited noble Italian titles from their father. Unique markers in a family defined more by British tradition than European aristocracy. These dual identities reflect a merging of histories and hint at the next generation's more global royal experience. But no amount of titles or heritage could shield Beatrice from the emotional upheaval caused by a rumor that refused to die. At the center of it was an alleged DNA test, an explosive claim suggesting that Beatrice might not be Prince Andrew's biological daughter. The origins of this rumor were unclear. Some said it came from leaked medical documents, others believed a disgruntled insider had whispered it to the tabloids. Regardless of where it started, the implications were devastating. If true, it wouldn't just rewrite a family story, it would call into question her place in the royal succession and her connection to a legacy built on bloodlines. For Beatrice, who had long shown loyalty to her father, the emotional impact was severe. Reports surfaced of deep hurt, anger, and a feeling of betrayal. Her public appearances with Prince Andrew dropped off. Once a visible daddy's girl, she now avoided being photographed with him. Her social media quietly shifted, focusing on her husband, her daughters, and her charitable work. Prince Andrew was nowhere to be found in posts or captions. Insiders described it as a quiet rebellion, a silent statement in a family that rarely speaks out. Meanwhile, her sister Eugenie remained low profile, reportedly continuing to support their father privately or simply choosing not to comment. As for Buckingham Palace, its traditional silence became almost deafening. The institution's long-held motto, "Never complain, never explain," suddenly felt like an outdated shield against a very modern storm. Behind closed doors, the palace was reportedly scrambling. King Charles III was said to be furious about the leak. Prince William focused on preserving the monarchy's reputation. Queen Camilla worked to calm the tension. But without an official statement, speculation thrived. The public and the press filled the silence with their own theories, and Beatrice was left standing in the middle, royal by title, but now questioned in identity. The roots of this turmoil trace back decades, to the complicated relationship between Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Their love story, which began in childhood social circles and flourished into marriage in 1986, was full of highs and public lows. They had their daughters, but Andrew's demanding naval career and a relentless media spotlight strained their bond. By 1992, the couple had separated. Later that year, a tabloid scandal involving Sarah and her financial advisor embarrassed the monarchy. Still, they chose to co-parent together, even living under the same roof for years after their divorce. Their decision to stay close wasn't just about convenience, it was about protecting their daughters. Whether at Sunninghill Park or later at the Royal Lodge, the unconventional family setup helped provide stability. Yet, Andrew's financial troubles worsened over the years. He lost his royal income in 2013 and faced the enormous cost of maintaining historic royal properties. Questions about the future of the Royal Lodge and his role within the monarchy remain unanswered. Meanwhile, Beatrice, once a peripheral royal figure, began to take on more relevance. Prince William, now at the forefront of reshaping the royal family's image, has quietly expanded the circle of active royals. His plan to modernize the monarchy isn't just about appearances, it's about connection. He sees value in relatable figures, people like Beatrice who have jobs, families, and real-world experience. As King Charles faces health concerns, and with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle out of the royal fold, the need for a new kind of royal representation has never been greater. In Beatrice, the monarchy has found someone who blends tradition with progress, title with humility. The broader pressures facing the monarchy are real and growing. Rising costs of living, political divisions, global unrest. Younger generations question the relevance of the crown. Surveys show waning interest, and the institution's notorious secrecy now feels like a wall that shuts people out rather than protects legacy. But there is still hope. And part of that hope lies in the faces of royals like Beatrice. Flawed, human, and quietly strong. Her story is not just about royalty. It's about growing up under pressure, carving your own path, and standing firm when the world wants to shake you. Whether or not the rumors about her paternity ever find resolution, Princess Beatrice has shown that identity is more than DNA. It's grace under fire, loyalty to truth, and strength in silence. And as the monarchy looks to survive in a world that's changing faster than ever, it may just be the quiet strength of individuals like her that help it endure. If you found this story as compelling as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful royal insights and untold stories.